as you have Lightning Blast, if it's just a tilting, then you can just do a Lightning Blast and you're feeling fine.
Yeah.
You know? But if it's tilting and there's other stuff that you also have to handle, all of a sudden that Lightning Blast might not look so okay. Because then on the next turn, it's that stuff plus whatever your opponent plays.
Yep. All right, and now we actually get to see two very interesting decks. So Crumsion playing a neutral blood deck, which we have not seen yet, and Jordude getting to play his Burn Runecraft deck, which we actually haven't seen this one either. This one got banned out last time, I believe. So Burn Runecraft, and again, this is very interesting. So I'm assuming that Crumsion is playing Daria as his Runecraft deck. That's why he got banned. And Jordude got his Shadowcraft. Like, this is one of the reasons why I feel like it's weird not to see more players being on Daria, because I felt like for this weekend specifically, the best strategy you could be on was play Daria and then play two decks that you actually want to play. Get your Daria deck banned every single time, and then just have the matchup lined up already how you want to play every single match. Daria banned, play your two decks. Now, when you play something like Burn Runecraft, you don't necessarily need to ban it, right? Because it is a beatable deck.
Yeah.
Daria, a little bit less beatable.
Yeah.
So I feel like your opponent can choose a little bit better against you what they want to do.
Interesting, too, especially with neutral blood. I mean, just Hector as a card really hurts Burn Rune. It's almost, Hector is like a Halo Golem, but just better.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's got ward, it's got an extra defense, so it doesn't just fall to any of the burn spells. You have to evolve into it usually or over it. Yeah, it's a very sticky card.
Yeah. Oh, Crumsion!
Come on, Crumsion.
Crumsion! Talk to us!
Let's go.
Respond!
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. We don't want any matches.
Please
to end this way.
respond.
Yeah. None of this. Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
This is
Get out of the car!
story of my life.
Stop playing on your phone!
Send a message to a person that I am affectionate of for, and just waiting for a response. I'm still waiting today.
One day.
Yeah.
One day.
Nobody likes me.
So let's talk about this matchup a little bit. Burn Runecraft versus basically Burn Neutral Blood.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really all it does.
That's really what it is. It's a Phantom Cat just kind of going to town.
Yep.
Right.
And honestly, it's just whoever can keep pace better with dealing damage to their opponent while also not dying. I know that sounds very pedantic, you know what I mean? Of course, yes, that's what you would try to do. But with the deck, it's because all of their cards do something proactively, right? Like once you start the Hector train or once you start the Master Mage Levy train, something like that, who can just continuously deal damage turn after turn while playing better board positions. So it's kind of like Shadow, only there's also damage being dealt to the leader at the same time the board is being dealt with.
Yes. The Halo Golem, I think, showed up just in time. Now, what is the line here in your eyes? Do you Halo Golem and then whiteboard with the Evolve? Or do you Halo Golem face and then Evolve face?
No, I play Magic Illusionist, evolve it, play Piercing Rune, wipe the board, attack with Carl.
Okay.
And then you have possible 2 threats that are still left alive for the following turn. 3 defense is high enough to not get eaten up by a Scarlet Sabrewer.
Do you think the value of your Earth Runes are worth spending on the Magic Illusionist?
With the amount that he has already in hand, absolutely.
All right. It will survive. Has 3 defense.
Still
Just-
high enough to
yeah.
take out a 2-2.
Yeah. Doesn't come in at a 2-0, so that's okay,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Decides to play the Sigils instead of saving the defense on Carl. I don't mind this. This heals him back to full as well.
Oh, and got the Nightfall.
This does mean he's a little bit more susceptible to something like a Sabrewer. But Carl's actually one of those, I don't want to call it a tech card because you're going to play it in every Burn Runecraft deck, right? But it is kind of a tech card in this matchup because it allows you to play that tempo plan like we were talking about while also healing and dealing damage to the opponent or just clearing off the board, which is really nice.
And every point of healing, because, I mean, not so much as Burn Rune is, I feel like, but a lot of these aggro decks, their cards are finite resources, you know? So at any point you're healing up just could give you that one extra point that puts them out of range and runs them out of gas.
Yeah, and I'm interested to know what he's saving his Piercing Runes for. I guess they could be, you know, for the Hectors and things like that, just because they're harder to deal with followers. And honestly, like Carl, it's so unassuming, right? It's a 2-1. You don't really care about it. You don't really want to take it off the board. You don't want to utilize resources for it, but you have to. Otherwise, it's just going to literally out-tempo you over the course of this mid-game.
It's still there. Still there. I think this is good. Do you want to spend the evolution orb not going face? I think that's a tough call to make. Makes it. Get rid of the Carl.
Yeah, I don't mind being ultimately super defensive. Like, both of these decks are almost the same thing. Like, yes, they both burn, but they also have their own card draw mechanics, right? You've got Wizards of Oz on the side of the Jordude, and then you've got things like Phantom Cat, Baphomet, Goblin Mage on the side of Bloodcraft. So they're always going to have cards to do stuff with. But
yeah,
this is interesting.
And that's very important. Basically, whoever can do stuff for longer at this point, the way that they're playing, is going to come out on top.
That's absolutely right. And what we can see right now is that Crumsion does have card draw options in his hand, whereas the Jordude does not. And without being able to play a lot of these threats in the same turn, Chain Lightnings aren't really ever going to get to a place to do things early either.
Yeah.
This is rough.
So he's going to throw the Magic Illusionist away here. And I think that's fine.
Yeah, you got to get it off the table. I honestly think that card will eventually leave play. Like, I think the Jordude's only playing 2 Magic Illusionists at this point. Soon it'll be 1. Soon it'll be 0.
Roll the 4.
Don't like Magic Illusionists anymore.
Yeah. The Sahak Wheel is interesting. I don't know how much late game Crumsion is bringing with his list.
Yeah, that is interesting. Neutral Blood with the top-end package. So just like the Neutral Forest deck that we saw, possibly maybe a bunch of Saw Quills and Isserfils. Things like that. I don't see why not. You got plenty of card draw.
This is a big turn, I think, for the Jordude. He has 6 play points ready to go. And the Mage of Nightfall is just sitting and waiting.
I think you just smash. I think you have to get cards out of your hands. So I think you go Silent Lab. You go Halo Golem to the face. Evolve that Mage of Nightfall, go face. I think you got to get that damage in.
It's a very powerful play. It demands some kind of response from Crumsion, kind of a half response to the board. It's because there's so much damage potential there if you leave it up.
And when you're playing against these neutral decks, they do most things with followers. They don't really have access to a lot of spells. So if you can flood the board, it's harder to deal with a wide board with followers than it is with spells. Now, of course, we see the Saw Quill in hand, but we don't really have anything in hand that utilizes it very well yet.
Ooh, doesn't evolve. Jordude is a very patient player. I think it almost feels like he should be playing control-oriented decks. Or combo-oriented decks, I suppose.
Yeah,
you know,
well, like I said, that's what he's used to.
Yeah. He's very conservative with his plays, I feel like.
And I don't want to say anything negative about the Jordude, and this isn't to say anything negative about him, but I feel like that's kind of what hinders players from winning a lot of games in competitive play, is being too safe. If you're a little too safe and you don't take advantages when you have them, or when you can be aggressive, like what we see Fantasy do all the time. There's a reason Fantasy makes it to the top, part of the tables almost every single week.
Yes.
Why is that? Because he knows how to take the most aggressive line in any scenario. It doesn't always work out for him, but he knows how to see the line.
Yeah, and that's an important distinction to make. Fantasy is one of the players who's made it back, is in kind of the running for the top 8 right now, and probably will continue to be. Don't see him here today, but next week he's going to make another run and come real close. I think he was like a round away or something like that.
Yep. Definitely a person to look out for, because he, of course, already in the top seeding.
All right, what is the play here? I think the Chain Lightning bounces back at this point, but
yeah, that's kind of a weak play. However, you can do that alongside of the Dwarven Alchemist. There is a play that you can make where you go Carl into Dwarven Alchemist. The problem is you can't evolve the Dwarven Alchemist here, even though you want to draw another card. But to gain some defense back. So maybe you just do the Carl into Dwarven Alchemist, evolve the Carl to go over the Saw Quill, and then you just get your hand as low as you possibly can to start getting some use out of this Chain Lightning.
I like the healing again when we talk about Carl, and especially anytime you can get additional healing for Carl. Super good.
Yeah. Yep, that looks like the play.
This is good damage mitigation. But the question remains for me, I mean, you have this package on Crumsion's end that is the late game, right?
That Isserfil sitting there is the scariest thing, I think, for Jordude. The fact that he has those late game options, like he feels like a neutral forest deck, a neutral runecraft deck. It's all the same, except he's just had so much more card draw in the early game that he just has so many options right now.
Yeah. Mutagenic Bolt is going to be big in that scenario.
Got to get the Israfil or whatever off the table. However, this Chain Lightning could put in a lot of work. I mean, he did manage to get all the cards out of his hand. He can start getting a lot of use out of this.
Nice. I really, really like Sibrewer in this scenario. He's able to sidestep the Evolution Orb here, and a Happy Pig!
The best pig in all the town.
Yep. Doesn't need to go whole hog because there's more things that the Evolution Orb could be spent on.
Sure. Israfil in hand, possibly an Emeralda, Hector in hand. Yeah, I don't see a way Jordude can basically just outgrind himself from this card advantage.
I think you actually just swing for the fences here, right? You just
I think
Mage
you
of
had to have
Nightfall,
done it
swing
already.
face,
Yeah.
and Chain Lightning. And then on the next turn, you do some combination of Mutagenic Bolt and swinging more face.
All face, 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 face.
Face, face, this is a race. Whoever wins this does not take last place.
I don't think either of these players are taking last place.
Well, there's only two places that can happen. It's either you win or you lose, right?
I guess that's true. There's either first place or no place.
Alrighty. Mage of Nightfall down, and he did go face, but and I think he did also play the chain. I think he did exactly what I was talking about.
Yep.
And this is a dangerous scenario. I mean, 4 + 3, 7, you're one off, so you can't just go lethal with the Chain Lightning and the Mage of Nightfall.
However, an Oz off of the top can make a lot of difference.
0-3, so now this actually rivals the Chain Lightning here if you play Mutagenic Bolt. But yes, I think it is looking for a card off the top. Here comes the Oz. Oh!
That's not a bad one.
That's what we were talking about. That's a 5 damage storm.
That is a 5 damage storm.
But I think it's not the option that will let him immediately
No,
win.
I think you just bolt and attack. There is not another healing option, I don't believe, in Crumsion's hand, but he does have a Hector. He does have Hector to ward. Now, granted, ward isn't really seeming like the best option once your opponent runs out of Evolution Orbs. The only card that a ward is going to protect you from is this Elder Dragon, or Elder Mage of Dragonlore.
Yeah.
And, of course, he knows it's in the deck, but what are the odds he has it in his hand right now?
Yeah.
Things like that are all questions you have to ask. This is rough. This is a rough turn, but I think, yeah, Mutagenic Bolt into attacking
That
is good.
Israfil healing was huge.
Huge.
But this is getting even closer to something that's... So there's no turn where you can play Chain Lightning plus a thing.
Ooh, actually, he doesn't have to attack with the mage this turn. Why, you ask? Because those rats don't have anywhere to go if he doesn't. And you still get the same, essentially, damage in because it would basically die next turn anyway, right?
Yeah.
So this way you ensure that 4 damage from the rats happens, which means 9, and then you have the 5 from Storm, and you have the 4 attack. That's exactly 13 damage.
I think Jordude's thinking about that right now, and he takes the play.
I like it.
He takes the play. This could be it. That could be a game-winning decision, or he could be thrown into...
Hectors.
Yeah.
It
Hectors are the
depends
big thing.
on what Crumsion plays here. If he doesn't play these Hectors, or one of them.
Remember, there still is the opportunity to draw into a Oz, right? Which could change everything here.
I mean, honestly, he already knows Chain Lightning exists, so that's like a guaranteed 6 damage regardless next turn.
Yeah. Plays a Hector, plays a second Hector, and there it is. I think Crumsion has laid his hand out here. Takes the opportunity to evolve the Flame Rat.
Yep.
And that's the decision that could turn around on you, right? Mutagenic Bolt over the course of a few turns is always better for your opponent.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, no.
But he played both the Hectors, and I think that's good enough for this game.
Yeah.
No,
needs to
second
heal, but
Mutagenic
also
Bolt.
needs ways to kind of play himself out of this scenario. And Jordude might be losing this first match. Game.
That's game.
Wow. That was a very interesting matchup. Neutral blood with an upper end
So
against
I've got to say,
Burn Rune.
I've got to call into question Jordude not being more aggressive earlier in the turns.
Yeah. Just passes the turn out, and the Flame Rats will end it.
Hectors, man.
Wow.
Hectors are so friggin' good.
Yeah. They really came into very, very high use here for exactly what we talked about when the game first started, right? Hector in many ways is just like a better burn card.
Well, in a vacuum, Hector might actually be just the best 5-drop in the game. The problem with it is that you have to play neutral cards with it. It's not just a standalone 5-drop that's always just good. But, I mean, what else do you want from a 5-drop? You get a 4/4 body, which is right on par. You get a ward, which is above par.
Yeah.
And it deals 3 damage to any target.
The flexibility of choosing, hey, I am on the control plan, I can remove board. Hey, I'm on the aggro plan, I can go face. It's incredible. It's like a March Hare's tea time, 1 less defense, but you have the ward, so you have to swing into it anyways, you know? And you don't spend the evolution orb, and you get the 3 damage.
Absolutely. 100% agreed. Now, this is a weird matchup, so let's talk about new Burn Runecraft versus Dragoncraft. So I want to say that Burn Runecraft being on the play definitely has a slight advantage. Or it did when Magic Illusionist was at full power. Now, being powered down, it's not as big of a deal against Dragoncraft, especially these new ones that aren't running any Dragon Summoners. They don't have as many of the 1/2s that they're playing early. But if you do not get a lot, and I mean a lot, of early damage in with your followers in this matchup, it becomes extremely hard to win in the late game because of how much healing that Dragoncraft has.
Yeah. I think really in this matchup, you're aiming to close the game out around turn 6, turn 7.
Yeah, you have to. You almost have to. You can win a late game. It is possible with Oz's, and we've seen it before, but it gets less and less likely the longer the game goes.
And you never want to be living in that territory.
Right. Where you have to top deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then it's all random, and then you have no idea. You know, have as little control over your win as possible.
We see Crumsion with the animated lightning blast.
I have those.
God.
I didn't disenchant those when they got adjusted.
Yeah.
Okay? I kept mine.
How do you feel about keeping them?
Or liquefied them rather. I just like them. I mean, look at it. It's so shiny.
It's great. It looks like it should do damage.
It does look like it should do damage. Like Blazing Breath, you know that thing's dealing some damage.
Yeah.
Lightning
Blast looks like it's blowing up a planet.
That's true. That's true. That's exactly what it looks like.
I wonder if it's also called Lightning Blast in the Japanese version of the client.
I don't know. Doesn't seem like words that wouldn't be in their language.
Well, they could just give it the old katakana, you know? The romanization of the thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you say. So it looks like the Jordude just basically deciding whether or not he should trade with anything. I highly doubt it.
Gotta go fast.
You have to.
Gotta go fast.
And he does have the Oz for backup, has the Master Mage Levy, also on curve to deal some damage.
It's so interesting. I always feel like this new Ayala, the Dragon Sword Ayala, and there actually is a difference. The Dragon Knight there. So Dragon Knight, Dragon Sword are the differences. The Dragon Sword version of the Ayala, it always just feels weird to me when you actually play it for the ramp. Like, it almost feels like it's not worth it, you know? I know it's still good to ramp, but it's like, it's so awkward to me. Like, you would much rather have that ramp into the fervor, into the whatever, you know?
Yeah, almost always. Now, the biggest thing, though, Ayala is still good in different, you know, or for different reasons. First of all, it's a 2-drop. So before, you could actually lose as Dragoncraft when you didn't get a 2-drop and you had to play your Ayala on turn 3 to get your ramp because you're just a turn behind in tempo. This gives you the option of having a 2-drop while also giving you the option to ramp later.
Yeah,
now, you're
the
right.
2-drop for 2/2 is standard.
Yeah, but you're right. You do have to give up an Evolution Orb to ramp now, which is not as good as before. Before, you didn't have to give up the Evolution Point for that. But I feel like it does give you really good options. It also gives you the another good option for ramping all the way up. And what I mean by that is when you get those super sweet turns where you're at 7 play points, you get to play your Sybil and a 2-drop. Before it was just Oracle. Now you can do Ayala and get all the way up to 10 immediately. And then you can just shut the door.
Yeah. Definitely it's very different. It's very, very different. I actually like the change overall for what it speaks to in terms of Dragoncraft's strengths. I think it's a very well thought out card.
Absolutely.
But continue the game plan of going face. No Sybil. Okay. So this is basically just another turn where you have to kind of just be okay with all of this stuff happening. Salamander is available, and I think that's probably what you have to do.
I think, yeah, you got to do it.
Salamander and then into the Carl.
Yep, Salamander away, attack board away, and then Master Mage Levy is going to come out from the Jordude. And there's no heal in the hand of Crumsion yet, which is not good for him, especially because there is an Oz in the wings for the Jordude, which can find a lot of damage. Not to mention
I
just
was
cards in
informed
general.
that Jordude actually had a Dark Angel Olivia in the background.
Oh,
Is
we
it
don't
still
see
there?
here.
Was it moved?
We don't see it here, I don't think.
I think it was moved. Where did she go?
This is competition mode, Jordude, okay?
Yeah.
No distractions.
No distractions. Dark Angel Olivia probably just complains about how she's not played anymore.
I kind of miss her, to be honest. I always liked her as like a one-of in slow decks. She was great.
Evolution Orbs are good.
Yeah.
They're very good.
It was one of the only cards that let you cheat with Evolution Orbs, too.
Yeah.
So, like, if you guys don't remember what Olivia did, Dark Angel Olivia, or if you have no idea what she does, she's a 9 play point follower that when she came into play, basically reset all of your Evolution Orbs. And even if you were on the play with 2, you'd still get 3.
You would come back with 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. It actually changes the maximum amount of evolutions you have.
Yeah.
There's a Sybil. That is a big draw. That is a big draw, and I think that
2 Sybils.
it makes me feel like Crumsion is going to win this now.
Sybils definitely make you feel a little bit better that way. I really like the second Master Mage Levy here. There is another Evolution Orb for Crumsion. He's probably going to utilize it to play out this other Sybil.
Yeah. I think while you can, you got to play the Sybil to heal. And that way you can then play any amount of wards to kind of continue blocking.
Ooh, going with the Saha play instead. Basically, what I'm assuming here with this play is he's trying to create a board big enough to where the last evolution point has to come out of the Jordude, then he can play the Sybil, so it's just safer for possibly more turns.
Yeah, if you can get Sybil to actually survive, then that becomes insane. That is really shutting the door on Burn Rune.
Ooh, here you go. And here's another option for Jordude to just empty out his hand before the Oz again, which is always good.
I think you kind of have to go for that. You're, as we said, if you're living off the top, you know, you may as well optimize, get a good running start, right? Nobody just jumps from standstill. Everybody has to have a good run up.
Yeah, I think utilizing these options this way is just better. I mean, plus you get another play point next turn to work with, so possibly you could just end the game if you get like the God Force spells, you know what I mean? You just go like Piercing Rune, Mutagenic Bolt,
I hope
Chain
he just
Lightning.
goes face. Yeah, yep. This is exactly it. And I wouldn't spend the Evolution Orb.
No need to. Force your opponent
just
to
let
deal
the
with your
5
board.
happen. If the game ends because of that 5 damage, I think it was going to end anyways.
Yeah, most likely.
Oh, the Scyther. Okay. Well, Crumsion has to remove the board.
Yes, 100%. You got to get rid of everything, especially because there's an evolution point left for the Jordude. So right now you can trade across with the Evolution Orb, or you can play the Scyther, get a really nice trade off this board, and get down the tilting
It's
at
actually
windmills.
interesting, too, because the more followers are played to actually remove the board, for example, the Sahakwill can actually trade, so that's good. But if you're left with a bunch of followers, that actually opens the door to a Mutagenic Bolt that could come even closer to lethal.
That's absolutely true. That's actually another reason why tilting at windmills is actually really good against decks like this, because it doesn't...
You clear the
Yeah, you
board
clear
of
the
any
board,
of those
yeah.
options, yeah.
It's great. So he decides to play the Sybil instead of the tilting here.
Okay.
Much safer play. I like it.
Gets the heal, which, again, finite resources. The more you heal...
Here we go. Let's see it. There's a chance to win right here.
Oh, no!
That was not it.
No!
That was not it.
Oh, my God!
Ouch.
No!
He did get a target so that he can Halo Golem, but that's it. He's got the Piercing Rune that he just freshly drew. Yikes.
Oh. You can take another skip turn, but I do think you have to remove the Sybil.
Yep, you play Carl. Evolve Carl.
Yeah.
Yikes. Now, it's not like Crumsion has an easy way to win this game yet.
Yeah. Yeah,
That-
he doesn't have a lot of cards in hand.
Ugh.
Still nothing that's super impactful. I mean, you could just plop down the tilting just to do it, right?
Yeah, there's no neutral card to play alongside of it, though. Like, I almost want to say, like, you Queen of the Dreadsea here just to try to get some tempo back. Like, but that doesn't make any sense. So, gonna draw a card first. Ugh.
Oh, boy. This is...
Dragoncraft, where all your good stuff's at? Where they at? Where's the Bahamets?
This is what we were talking about. You ramp,
Yeah.
you have nothing.
Sometimes you just don't have stuff you can do after ramping a bunch. Absolutely.
Talking about why players are kind of, I think, avoiding Dragoncraft. So here's a spell.
That was a great draw.
Yeah, absolutely necessary.
And now the Jordude basically just gets to deal damage here. Now it's a choice between if he wants the Mage of Nightfall. Well, now that's not a choice. Now he can do everything. You can go Halo Golem, Silent Lab into Mage of Nightfall. You know there's no Bahamut, or else he would have played it. I guess there is
Do you double Mage of Nightfall?
I don't think you. Well, actually, you know what? That is the most surefire way to win this game if there is not Bahamut in hand.
It's a question of how much are you going to call out your opponent, right? He did just draw a lot.
He did, and you don't know if that Breath of the Salamander happened before or after the Pure-Hearted Singer. So.
What would you do?
You know what? I think that is the right play. I think because like I've already said my thinking about this is my opponent doesn't have the Bahamut.
Yeah.
Yeah, play them both out.
You just gotta go for it.
Play them both out. I mean, because you got to think, how do you win if you Halo Golem face, right? Your opponent's at 5, and then you can play the Silent Lab, put down a Mage of Nightfall. That still only puts him to 1. You still have to top deck something. It's the only way you can try to win with the cards you already have access to. And we've already talked about that. That's usually the best way to go about it.
I think Jordude is thinking about that right now. He's trying to weigh the likelihood of Bahamut being in hand here. Thinking about the opponent's choices here. Okay, this is a divisive turn. Which are you going to pick? Oh, God.
He's going for it.
It's the Mage of Nightfall.
He's going for it.
Oh, my God.
Crumsion, Bahamut off the top.
This is it. Oh, the
That's
healing.
not a Bahamut, but that is enough to heal.
Oh, man.
That's only 3, though.
Close.
So that means that even still, with the heal, and he did actually have a chance to draw Bahamut again with that Stinger attack.
Yeah.
But with the way that the Jordude play this, even with the Sybil, it means all Jordude has to draw is a Chain Lightning or a Sigil Producer, and he can win this. Or, technically speaking, a Wizard of Savage into something. So.
Yeah. There's quite a few options on Jordude's end, and Jordude knows this is a big read. The fact that Bahamut is not coming down now, the fact that the Pure-Hearted Singer went in, this is a big kind of moment of information gathering for the Jordude. I love his presence of mind here.
I think he's
still not in the clear yet, but
he's sitting back in his chair because he's just like, he could just have it. He could just have it.
Yeah. Could be the old disaster mantra of play everything slow.
All right, and it looks like Crumsion's going to use this opportunity to try to get some tempo going for him.
Yeah. I like it. None of the other cards are really going to make an impact. You just need to survive. That is the end goal. Last Evolution Orb going into the Sybil means that the Clay Golem, clueless as he is, will leave the battlefield. Oh, no!
That probably is game.
Oh, no!
That will draw into a Sybil.
22 cards left.
That'll draw into
He already
something.
did one Oz that basically just...
Right.
There it is!
Yeah,
Wow!
Plenty.
Wow, the Jordude from the... and you talked about it, too. There's some times where Burn Rune can win, but it's so rare.
It's so rare.
This is so rare.
So think about what actually happened there as well, right? So not only did the Jordude have to take the chance on playing both of the Mage of Nightfalls, he still had to top deck something to end the game immediately, right?
Yeah.
So, and that just goes to show you that, yes, you can win, but not only do you have to get lucky a little bit, you also have to play perfectly. If he did not do the exact play of Mage of Nightfall into Mage of Nightfall, and his opponent not have the Bahamut with that read, that game would have gone completely differently.
Man. What a line of play.
Yeah.
What a line of
it's
play.
Awesome stuff.
Jordude saw it, and he doesn't have perfect information.
Right.
He intuited the situation. Intuited the situation.
Very, very high intuit skills.
You know, I've been talking publicly for a very long time, and I am still absolutely terrible at this language.
Yeah, words are tough. Everybody has problems with words, though. If anybody's out there making fun of other people for saying weird things, just take a look in the mirror, friend. You've definitely said some stuff, okay? You know,
you've said some stuff.
You've said some dumb stuff out there. You know this.
Yeah.
You were at a
everywhere
family
that-
dinner. You said something dumb. You know what I mean? You were like, ugh, I shouldn't have said that. Out with your friends. It happens all the time.
Oh, God. Stop it, or else I'm going to have to scream out the awkward memories that are surfacing now. Ah!
Angry Asian person noises.
Vengeance Blood versus Tilting Dragon.
I gotta
How
say,
do you feel?
Vengeance Blood probably still has a great matchup. I think that Tilting has a better chance against Vengeance Blood than old Dragon decks do because of just their speed. They don't give Vengeance Blood as many turns if they can get their combo online fast enough. However,
Well, the key is, if you are playing the Tilting game plan, when do you play the Tilting, right?
as
Because
soon as
playing
you
it on turn
possibly
7,
can.
the Emeralda comes down, both destroys the Tilting, and it just
Well,
smacks you.
well, you're ramping, so not necessarily.
That's true. You're right. You're right.
Not necessarily. I really feel like this matchup is always about the Belphegor draws. I think the Jordude has literally every single piece that he needs to win this matchup in his hand already, which does not bode well for Crumsion, because Crumsion does not have the best ramp options in hand. He is going to have to spend his Evolution Orb this turn to ramp, and he's not going to be able to do anything else.
Yeah. I would like a statistic on how many times Dragon players are forced to evolve Dragon Sword to ramp, Ayla to ramp, and if they win or lose that match.
That would be a good statistic to learn.
I want to see that
Yeah.
statistic.
That would be a good statistic. I can tell you from first-hand experience, when I use Evolution Orbs to ramp with Ayla, it feels good. It doesn't feel bad ever. There's never a time where I regretted using my Evolution Orb to ramp.
Yes.
I'll put it that way.
I think it does give an indication for how your hand is playing out in the early game and how much tempo you're giving your opponent. That probably is a bigger indicator over anything else. The ramp is probably always good for Dragon.
Yeah.
But the question is, how much leeway are you giving your opponent? And I think that's the big thing.
So I don't mind this too. Again, what are you ramping into if you do ramp to 6 here? Yes, Breath of the Salamander. But if you're planning on playing Fervor next turn anyway, just so you can keep the card draw and the ramp going, then this is a fine play as well.
What do you do? I mean, I feel like you kind of want to play Belphegor here.
I
but
honestly don't know why he didn't play Belphegor last turn. He's on the play. He has the perfect draw. I don't know why he's waiting on the Belphegors.
the Belphegor would have been huge here. I mean,
He could have already been playing Dark Generals and Smash and Face.
uh-oh. And we talked about I think we've seen the benefit of Urias today, and that might have been what Jordude was like, man, Urias has been good.
Why in the world is he looking to draw more cards here instead of using that damage to go face is well beyond me. Maybe he has some other plan with his Vengeance Blood deck that I am not used to playing. But I can tell you from my experience playing Vengeance Blood, the best way to usually take down Dragon is just to get them. You know what I mean? Attack early, often, get the Belphegor down, get all of your advantage cards down. I feel like he just lost the damage by attacking the Pure-Hearted Singer in, when his opponent's going to have to deal with it anyway, because next turn, he didn't play any ramp now. He's got to play a ramp spell next turn. If he plays a Sybil, you're completely fine with it because he doesn't heal off of it. If he plays a Fervor, perfect. And you just continue the damage train. I might have even played the Belphegor out, or evolved the Pure-Hearted Singer, just so his Pure-Hearted Singer couldn't deal with mine, and then just be like, please Fervor next turn. Then you will lose.
Now the Salamander can be chosen to remove the Belphegor, and the ramp comes in. And this is really about the next, I think, 2, maybe 3 turns for Jordude. I think the door is quickly shutting.
You are my food.
Now, in saying that, Emeraldas give the Vengeance Blood a lot of lasting power against Dragoncraft these days.
And he has one in hand.
He does. And before, Ouroboros used to be the actual game winner. You get an Ouroboros down early against Vengeance Blood, you just win the game. But now that it doesn't heal when it dies, not as good, but still very good, because it will actually just threaten lethal on any turn that you allow it to stay alive.
Yeah.
But looks like he's skipping that anyway, going all the way up for the big push.
Okay. What is the damage available here?
I mean, there's a lot. He can Dark General along with a removal spell here.
I think he has a Hungering Horde, right?
Yep, has a Hungering Horde.
Right there. There's a choice.
Yep.
I guess you just have to just swing everything face.
Now, in my mind, just think if there was an extra damage dealt to the to Crumsion already, and that Belphegor came out a turn earlier, so these plays would have happened a turn earlier.
Yeah.
This could have happened last turn. Again, a Dark General could have already happened the turn previous.
I don't think there's an Israfil in hand, right?
No Israfel.
That actually might be the game closer. If there's no Sybil, no Israfil, I actually think Jordude just wins turn after turn.
Well, let's see. Next turn, he's got access to Dark General or Emeralda, so that's only a maximum of 6 damage. So the game won't end if Crumsion just plays a Bahamut.
Wow, he's going to toss his hand.
Wow.
Oh, God, and he can evolve.
Wow, that's right. Never mind. These are the plays that we don't see with the tilting decks, but they just win the game. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Tilting at windmills
That feels real
makes
bad.
dragons so good.
That feels real.
I love not knowing these lethals. These are such exciting lethals out of nowhere.
Oh, my God. It just happened.
And Crumsion knocking out
Wow.
the Jordude.
That really has to get you thinking. I mean, you are basically going up to 10 and it is over, right? There's just so many different combinations of what you can do with Tilting and Dreadsea and Bahamut, right? Those 3 are kind of like the base cards.
That's the
And
triumvirate.
any weird combination of it, right? We've seen it.